Welcome back to the Avenue. We have another beautiful Tuesday, and on this Tuesday, we're going to get real. Thank you for coming in today, but we're going to get real about a few things, and retirement is one of the things we're going to get real about. I've been retired for about 4 years now, and there's some things that I learned over the 4 years that I did not know before I retired. They missed me on that memo, okay? And just know that the company that you retired from, they will provide you with a certain amount of information, but life after retirement, they're really not that interested in life after retirement for you in particular. And it makes sense because really they don't have anything to do with you after retirement. They're more interested in running their business and keeping business going. But it is your life after retirement, and there's some things that I'm going to share with you that you may not know, you may not have considered, and there are some things in specific that had I known, I would have done a couple of things differently before I actually retired. Stay tuned for this one.
She's a go-getter, alright. What a beautiful sight. Anything she sets her mind to, she stays on it day and night. She writes the checks, she signs the deeds. She plants the fruitful seeds and still finds the time to meet all her family needs.
What if I told you that the retirement you actually plan for won't be the retirement that you actually get? And this makes sense once I break it down to you, because nobody knows the future. Nobody knows about inflation rates, how they came out. Nobody knew about the pandemic and what it would do. You probably don't know that your medical insurance or health care costs could go up. These things people don't tell you about before you retire. This is something that you learn about after retirement. And there's some other things that may happen in your life after retirement that you just don't know about. So that life that you planned, because we all have a retirement dream of traveling, having enough money to do everything we want to do, paying our home off, spending time with the grandkids, doing all these wonderful and beautiful things. But there are some things that can kind of throw a wrench in your plans, that best made plans, and it may not go the way that you think it's going to go. And that's what we're going to get more into today. Sometimes in our retirement planning, we don't necessarily calculate inflation or things going up, because things could be when we retire, as far as buying things, the grocery store shopping, all of that could be good just at the normal inflation rate. But sometimes we get into some of these years where the inflation rates are a little bit higher than what we expected. So it's pulling on whatever money you have coming in to the household. If you have a pension fund at that point in time, that pension fund normally stays the same. It does not go up with the cost of living, and maybe some of them do, but some of them don't go up with cost of living. So that money that you have coming in, that you planned, that you knew you would have coming in, it gets smaller because of inflation is getting larger. So it's not actually getting smaller, but what you can buy is becoming fewer and fewer items because of inflation. So we don't know what inflation is going to be, and this is something definitely, if you can calculate it into your figures before you retire, calculate 3% inflation, 4% inflation, whatever you want to put, but calculate something into your numbers before you retire, so you'll know, and brace yourself so when inflation does hit, you'll know that there's inflation out there, because it does not die just because you retire. It continues to go on, and we want to have the best possible life we can when we retire. We've worked all those years. Some of us have worked 20, 30, 40 years before we retire, and we're looking forward to that next chapter of rest, relaxation, and being a kid again with a little bit of money this time. So calculate that into your retirement plans. It will help you, and this is something that you probably didn't get the memo on. Another memo you probably did not receive is the one on healthcare. As you age, sometimes things come up with the body that you didn't have at a younger age. You go to the doctor and you may be diagnosed with a few things. And as you age also, medical expenses become more and more expensive. Healthcare becomes more and more expensive. And if you want to focus on a better food, that's going to be an added expense. If you want to focus on supplements to help your body out, that's going to be an added expense. If they send you to a specialist, that's an added expense. You may have to go to the dentist more than you have in the past because of some gum work or dental work. That's an added expense. So your body is, it's doing the normal thing in aging, but the best thing that you can do is try to take care of your body as early in age as possible, because it may delay or not even have to go through some of these things that you may have to go through the older you get. But as the body ages, things will come up, you guys. Even if you take the best of care of your body, we can see people now that took good care of their bodies and they're getting up in age. They're not dying necessarily younger, but they're aging and getting up in age. But your body, when it's a year old as opposed to 70, 60, 80, 90 years old, it's got wear and tear on it. So the health care may become your biggest expense in your retirement. So know that, because that's a memo that they don't tell you how health care is going to work out, but it may become your biggest expense when you retire. Here is the conversation that no one prepares you for. And this is the one thing that before retirement, if I could change and do differently, I definitely would. This is something I did not expect, because nobody prepares you for this. But that is to help out with aging parents. This is something that affected me. I have a sister, so she helps with my folks. But when your parents don't drive anymore, they still want to live on their own. And so you have to go visit them and keep up with them. And thank God I still have my parents, don't get me wrong. But it does take toll mentally as well as financially, because if something goes wrong with the house or something goes wrong with any type of bill, they rely on us to take care of it. We write their bills out for them now. If they need to make any appointments, we take them to the appointments they need to go to. So we do all the driving, the grocery shopping, manage their money, and sometimes we have to take care of our household as well as their household. Thank God I do have the finances to do that. But what I would do differently if I saw this coming, I probably would have started a parent fund before I left my old job, just to sock some money away. So when something would happen, I necessarily wouldn't have to pull from my personal funds. I could go from and pull from that parent fund. And if it meant, sacrificing more money over into that, or working a little longer to get that fully funded so that I knew that I could provide the help without any strain or anything, that would be helpful. And some of my friends, they don't have parents, so their parents didn't make it, so they don't know and necessarily understand, when they get older, the things that you have to do. Some of them did have parents and they did what they could and their parents passed on. I am so thankful to God that I have both of my parents still with me, and I will do everything in my power to make sure they're comfortable, to make sure they have what they need, because, they took care of me when I was younger, when I couldn't do for myself. Now it's my time to do my part to help them out. And that is the one thing that I would sacrifice anything for, to make sure that they're good. So, but this is something, you all, aging parents. I have a cousin. His mother is 98 years old, and so he's helping with her. So we often talk and have conversations about how things are going, because we weren't prepared for what was coming for us. When you have healthy parents, they've been healthy all their lives. You never had to really have them help them do anything. They could manage their own money. They could do things for themselves. I don't let people come into their house, as far as exterminators or anything like that, cable people, without one of us being there, because we just, don't want anything to happen. We also have cameras in the house. I tell anybody, if your parents don't want to move in with you, make sure you put cameras in the house so you can see what's going on at any time. And it's been a lifesaver. So when I do go on trips, or when I am at home and want to just check on them to see if anything's, going on, I can look at it. We have a doorbell camera that if anybody comes up to the door, we know exactly. We can listen to them. We can speak to them. I can send alarms out in the house if I want to. So there are things that can help us from a distance, help them. But what I'm saying is, when you retire, nobody sends you the memo that this may come up in your life and you may have to do some caregiving for your parents or someone that's elderly that you love and you want to spend time with. So just keep that in mind and prepare as best as you can for that, because like I said, it does take toll on you financially as well as emotionally. It can take toll on you too. All right, before we go any further, hit that like button and that subscribe button so that you can stay up to date on the latest information that I'm sharing with you. Hopefully you're getting something out of this retirement memo that you probably didn't get either. This is one that I don't have problems with, but there are a lot of folks that when they retire, that they have adult children that still need help. Sometimes they need financial help because of bills and things that they get behind on. Sometimes they get into trouble with the law and they need help there. And we know mothers and fathers, they will do all they can to help their children. And this is something that you may not have expected. Even if the kids are doing fine when you retire, something could come up. You know, an illness could come up, a pandemic could hit, anything could happen. And all of a sudden now you're having to help out the children. So, you know, you can become as prepared as you can for that, or help out grandchildren. You can, sometimes that comes up. You need to help grandchildren out. And so you can become as prepared as you can for that. And some people go ahead and, you know, write off in their will or do things ahead of time. Some folks I know give their children whatever money that they're going to give them when they pass on. So if they need it at any point in time, they have it. But when they pass on, you know, that's it. They may only have the house left to divide out. But this is something that may come up in retirement that you may not be prepared for. So if you have children, think about that before you leave that job and fully retire. On this one, I tried to prepare myself as best I could, and that is I retired early. So I knew that by retiring early, that meant the money would have to last a little bit longer. Also, I have longevity in my family, and I'm hoping to make it to a ripe old age of however long. So it may not be just 15, 20 years. It may be 30 or more years, 35, 40 years before I exhaust all the money and don't need it anymore or pass away. So that being said, people are living longer, you guys. And so make sure you have enough money or have calculated enough money to carry you through however many years you think that you may be here on this earth, still needing to use money. And as long as you're here, you're going to need to use money. Food, water, shelter, all of that, you're going to need to use money. Healthcare, all of that will require money. So make sure you have enough, especially if you retire early. You need to stock a little bit more away to carry you through those years. And if you don't have Social Security in yet, you have to figure that out. What do you need in the gap to carry you over till you get to that point and you have another check coming in. But keep this in mind that retirement can last a lot longer than what you originally planned for it to. One more tip that I want to give you, I'm not there yet, but keep in mind that Social Security does not solve everything. Don't think that that's going to be the solution to everything. I would like for you to research Social Security. I would like for you to research Medicare. Do your research and find out how you will be affected by Social Security and Medicare, so you will be better prepared when that time comes when you have to use the Social Security and Medicare, how you're going to be taxed on some of this stuff. So you need to know all of that. My financial advisors, they're helping me with that, help me get prepared. So when the time comes, then I'm able to make the right decisions and save as much money as I possibly can save and not pay as many taxes as I would have to have paid without their knowledge and without their help. So that's another tip I want to give you about Social Security. So stay up on that and educate yourself. In retirement, what I found that helps me a lot is that retirement requires flexibility. I have to be flexible in the things that I thought and dreamed of and the things that are reality. And I can still be happy in some of these things because not all retirement will cost money as far as doing simple things, you know, spending time with family, spending time with whoever I want to spend time with. That may not cost a lot of money. A lot of small trips here and there may not cost a lot of money. So there's still enjoyment in retirement simply because your time is your time. You don't have to do anything that you don't want to do. If you want to sleep in one day, sleep in. If you want to take a class, if you want to go to the library, simple things like that will help you in retirement. So you can still be happy with the choices you've made and the decisions that you make in retirement and not have the stress and strain of the lack of money. Because simple sometimes is a lot better, you guys. If you get focused on exactly what you want to do in retirement and then start enjoying that and not worrying about other things, and know that some of the things that you thought that you needed to buy or that you would need to make you happy, in fact, they don't. So use good common sense to make decisions in retirement, and just go back through this video if you have to, because there are certain memos, you all, we did not get. No one told us about some of the stuff that we're going through. And so, but I want you to know, with my 4 years out in retirement, the things that have changed, the things that I've learned, the things that I'm doing differently. And had I known some of these things, the things that I would have done differently before I retired. So hopefully this is helpful to you. If you have any retirement tips that you'd like to share with the group, please drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear about them, and let's share with the community. And with that, I will see you in the next video.
Go Adrian. Humble, go get a bless. Let's go.